was planning to do very bad things. Then he said, for me to do bad thing, I choose you. Let's do handshake, and you'll cover me. And so there are millions of soldiers that when you say there's fuel in Russia, Russia.
COVID.
COVID. Kwani yeye ndiye alitengeneza COVID.
Kwani ni mimi nileta vita Russia.
So you find people who are apologists, excusing every bad action, explaining them. Kemsa, this is Kenya anyway, pesa itakuliwa tu. And so if there is accountability, no. And therefore, they are having a field day because it will be a discussion. You'll be saying the fuel is high, and they will say, probably you are saying it because you are sympathetic to non-government forces. As we want unity, and this government have done the best they can do. So with that, and you know, they are saying you scatter them and you divide them, then you can eat them one by one. So that
you line them up.
Yes, you know, there's an African adage that cross the river together and the crocodile will not eat any of you. I don't know how. Don't try that. But it's a figure of speech. Okay? That if you do dangerous things together and there's unity, then people will not take advantage. But right now, the government is taking advantage because they have unrecruited soldiers volunteering and reporting to duty every day and saying, sir, I'm here to defend whatever. Whatever you planning, please, what I'll ask is give them to me in good time so that I prepare the narrative to protect you and absolution. Others are praying for them, strengthen our president as he's leading us into wisdom. Others are tweeting about it.
Others are doing
looking
billboards.
for a corner. Yes, you might think the Nini is bad, but think about his tie. His tie is nice. This guy
might
has
be a
very
bad
nice
guy,
tie.
but he has a nice tie.
Don't just look at bad things. You know, that's the problem with Kenya. Think about Nini. Look at him driving his. Did you know he's left-handed? I'm amazed. This is interesting. So you realize you are on your own.
Could it be true then that Kenyans have what we call Stockholm syndrome, that we've fallen in love with our oppressors? Do you think so?
And it's also called gaslighting. Those are new diseases that are coming up.
New pandemics.
Yes, that once somebody have overwhelmed you with badness.
Until you've got a new
if you are overwhelmed, you don't even know where to start. And then what gaslighting does to the victim is that you start questioning your sanity. Are you sure you are seeing the fuel are high? Are you sure it's not you who did not do your morning devotion and don't have a grateful heart? Are you sure that I am manipulating this election? Are you sure?
That God is not 200.
Right.
No, that God is not 200.
So it's called gaslighting. And it happens when you overwhelm your victim until they question their own sanity. Remember... I did a literature book called Shamba la Wanyama, the animal farm. And it became common for the animals. Whenever they will complain of injustice, they are told, do you want the human being back? You know, leadership is not easy. Pray for our leader. And then remember, there's a chapter that I love that was saying it had become custom that the cow will say, thanks to the good leadership of Brother Napoleon, I have given more milk than I have ever given. Then the chicken will say, my brother, I'm with you. Thanks to the leadership of Napoleon, this week I've laid 5 eggs. And the cow will be drinking water and saying, this water is cool and good because of the good leadership we have. Remember that, the center cannot hold anymore. But it came to happen that every bad thing we are told, but handshake brought peace. Do you want peace? Peace? Or war? Remember, there's peace.
Peace or tear gas?
Peace. Tuesday. Remember?
Peace or tear gas?
This country was...
Do you remember the Tuesday?
Reminded. So then, in the name of peace, and we want just peace. Yes, we want peace. But we want peace with justice. We want peace where we can breathe. We want peace where we can afford gas. We want peace where we can eat. So now... the question that should occupy everybody's time and concern their effort is high cost of living. Things are crazy. But you know what? That is the same time that you are seeing ledgers in the government. You have seen the Auditor General showing the huge waste in the government. It's like we live in two cities. So there's one where there's billions being spent, and there's one where Kenyans are suffering. But to be
the tale of two cities.
Yes, it was both time of darkness and light at the same time, both time of foolishness and
wisdom.
Yes, so we are there. But you see, to the credit, that was a masterstroke. How do I rule in a way that I don't get problems? And I get absolution. And I violate these people with the permission of their conscience. Handshake. So soft things. I am with my brother here, Raila. And all Raila will say is, these days I don't complain publicly, but I still advise quietly. So things are not going well. As usual, Kenyans are optimistic. This election is a defining moment. But there is so much good and bad people on both sides that you could be excused to say, wow, what do I do? But I still feel that Kenyans will have a chance once more to cut through the main issue and say, well, cost of living, the economy, we need, and that is why something that we thought was a joke. From where I was standing, I said this will never go anywhere. The idea of we are tired of trickle down and bottom up. I have found professors without shoes, as I call them. People on the ground, the Mama Mboga, explaining that thing better than me.
I had the guy.
Because
actually,
they understand.
The gentleman is coming in tomorrow.
Oh, Dr.
I want
D.
you to be there. No, Dr. D. The other guy, the other D in the village.
Oh, the professors without shoes.
Yes, the professors without shoes.
No, those people know their problem.
It's interesting, and it's interesting how Kenyans are so intelligent. Until definitely, of course, it gets to time of voting. That's what you call the corporate sin. Because when you listen to these people, they know what they want. They know the history of where the rain started beating them. But somehow, in a way, they still find themselves back to the ditch. But anyway, the reason why I thought of inviting these gentlemen is that I think it speaks to the state of many Kenyans that they know what is wrong with their country. They know what can fix their country. But then again, somehow, when you get to the ballot, kuna kakitu kanakwambianga, kuna kashitani kanakwambia upeka mahali fulani. Edda, mambo.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You doing well?
I'm doing fine.
Habari ya Kabete?
Mzuri kabisa. Tuko salama. Yeah.
You bado uko kwa race?
Bado niko kwa kinyang'anyiro. Mpaka kwa debe.
Unang'ang'ana? Ushuki? Unagiginyana?
Kabisa.
Watu wa Kabete wanasemaje?
Watu wa Kabete wako na amani sana. We are counting days.
Okay.
Sasa tunasema 55, 54. Up to, the election day. Tumejipanga vizuri. Kule tuko wa sita.
Okay.
Kila mtu kwa mashinani, obviously, just like what we are experiencing in the entire country.
Okay.
And I think this time, my call to Kenyans is to make the right decision.
Okay.
And I keep saying, when I hear people complain about the president and fault, the inflation on the handshake, I tell them, let us not be hypocrites. And you cannot separate any leader who has served in this regime from the other. Right from the president, deputy, all the way down to a member of county assembly. All of them are liable to what we're experiencing. For example,
wacha niangalie traffic kidogo na ile microphone yako inaadjustiwa. Tafadhali Steve, niadjustie microphone irudi juu kidogo directly. Haya, wacha tuangalie traffic kidogo, microphone yaenda ikiadjustiwa kabla najua amesema mambo mengine mzuri lakini sasa ni kama microphone yake kidogo iko na shida. Watu wa Thika Road, it's not looking good at all. Pale chini kuanzia Madhare Hospital, from Madhare Hospital, hata si Madhare Hospital. Maze kuanzia huko nyuma KCA University is not looking very good. Kuja mpaka Madhare Hospital all the way to Pangani is not looking good. Pangani mbaya sana. It's not looking good for those guys on Thika Road. Not looking good at all. Not looking good at all. Haya, watu wa CBD pia it's not looking good at all. Ni kubaya pale CBD pia. Watu wapi hapa? Watu wa Westlands. Westlands guys, it's all clear. It's all clear on Westlands. It's all clear except pale wapi? Pale Parklands kidogo kama kuna jam kidogo pale Parklands. Watu wapi watu wa kuingia town from Marithuku pale Waiyaki Way. Looking a bit elder kidogo, imeshikana kidogo roundabout University Way, not looking very good. A little bit of traffic from the Pan-Afric side na pia kutoka upande wa Uhuru Highway. Roundabout pia ya El Selassie is a bit clear, hakuna shida kuingia tu from Mombasa Road imeshikana kidogo. Watu wapi watu ambao wanatokea State House Road pale Nyerere Road imeshikana kidogo, so you can find an alternative route getting into town from Nairobi from the Railways Club pale chini barabara katikati hapa is not looking very good but not really tight. Watu wapi watu wa Mombasa Road, Bunyala roundabout not looking very good from both sides. Meshikana kidogo lakini it's a delay ambayo si mrefu. Haya watu wa Nyayo, the roundabout is not looking very good if you are joining in from Langata Road. Nyayo roundabout from Mombasa Road is not looking very good. Watu wa traffic, but there's a state of traffic. Roundabout ya T-Mall sio mbaya, joining Mbagathi ni mbaya kuanzia hapo Weston. From Weston jam imeshikana all the way from Weston to the roundabout, so you can find an alternative route if you are using that route. Na pia on Langata Road imeshikana kuanzia Galleria, kuanzia Galleria mpaka Amref. It's bad. It's bad. If you want to access town, ama unataka ku access upande wa Langata using Langata Road, please find alternative route all the way from the bypass pale juu imeshikana kushikana. Naona watu pia wameanza kutorokea pale njia nyuma pale juu pita kutokea Rubis Deliverance Church imeshikana. So you can find alternative route if you're on Langata Road. Avoid Langata Road. Avoid Langata Road. Avoid Langata Road by all means. Ngong Road kuna kaa vipi? Let me see what's happening on Ngong Road. Ngong Road is clear. Ngong Road si mbaya. Pale Prestige kidogo imeshikana. Ni joining in Prestige imeshikana kuanzia pale Morningside mpaka the exit ya Prestige. Kamekamatana kidogo. Where you can find an alternative route. Pale Yaya watu wa Kileleshwa, it's all clear. All the way from Kileleshwa it's very clear. Ring Road Kilimani is clear. Kuna jam wapi kidogo. Kuna jam hapo kidogo roundabout ya Lenana Road, but it's all clear. Ring Road Kilimani joining in from Kileleshwa is a bit tight. Kuanzia pale kwa Mlima it's not looking very good. Kuanzia pale kwa Mlima is not looking very good. Kwa hivyo if you're joining in from Lenana Road, try and use the other route. Tumia pale Kirichwa alafu uweze kutokea na pale nyuma. That's the state of traffic on your roads. Niambie pia mahali huko traffic iko vipi? Thika Road mbaya, Langata Road mbaya zaidi, avoid it. Stay away from Langata Road. Thika Road pia kukai kuzuri. Aya, Kithanga Road, watu wa Lavington, Kithanga Road is looking so bad. Kithanga Road imekaa mbaya zaidi. Valley Arcade is not looking good. Oledume Road imeshikana kushikana, so try and avoid Oledume Road. Fuata the main road because hapo ukijaribu piga shortcuts kidogo kinaweza umana. That's the state of traffic on your roads. Tuangalie gazeti pia mbio. Naanza na gazeti ya The Standard. The battles within Raila Ruto camps ile kidogo ni kama kamezili. Tensions and fears have gripped the camps of leading flag bearers, threatening to scatter the support bases as candidates for elective seats from friendly political parties engage in bruising battles. Kubaya pale, tough times as petrol it's 160 per liter. Aya, wapeleke 200 ndio tupumzike kidogo. And the death trap beneath of the expressway. Expressway mambo, wamesema kuna death trap pale chini kidogo. Sijui story ni gani, nitajaribu kuisoma. UK asylum seekers fly to Rwanda. Okay, ala, okay. Aya. Food crisis as maize prices go up. Hakuna chakula Kenya hii. Unga bado itazidi kupanda juu. Wygor FC are in trouble. Okay, mambo ya sporti. On the Daily Nation, in 100 days, and they're bringing in a contrast of the plans that these guys have in 100 days between Azimio la Umoja na Deputy President's camp, William Ruto's camp. I was trying to bring in news. Well, let me see. In 100 days. So this is what these guys are promising us in 100 days. Okay. In 100 days on the Daily Nation. Okay. Raila Odinga, one is improve terms of service for KDF and police. Hire all trained but jobless teachers. That is number 2. Number 3, give 6,000 monthly to 2 million vulnerable families. Health insurance for all. Baba Care. Reduce cost of unga sugar farm in TTC. Economic stimulus to help ailing businesses. Kazi Mtaani program for the youth to continue. Establish livestock insurance scheme. Public officers to sign anti-corruption charter. Propose life sentence for poaching, trafficking and possession of ivory. That is on Raila Odinga's Azimio side. Now on William Ruto's side, number 1, within the first 100 days, establish the shillings 50 billion Asla fund. Number 2, give women 50% of the cabinet. 3, Establish Human Rights Agency in the Office of the President. 4, put Judiciary Fund into operation. 5, reform justice institutions, DCI, NP, National Police Service, EACC, Attorney General, DPP, and Judiciary. Number 6, appoint the 6 judges President Kenyatta has refused admission. Okay. Number 7, allocate this deputy assigned performance contract portfolio. Okay. Number 8, allocate funds to implement county economic charters. Number 9, automate revenue collection. Number 10, policy to regulate hawking and zero rate interest credit. Wanasema wanapeana credit ya bure. It is in the first 100 days. Shillings 20,000 withdrawal that gave out 240,000 that gave away Rongai robbery prime suspect. By the way, that's a very sad case. 2 voters want Wavinya locked out of the fake degree. Sasa Wavinya nasikia alipata masters kabla ya degree. Haya, tukisonga. Sema Kalonzo. Kalonzo refers to case in Uhuru Sonko defense. Ametumia kesi ya Uhuru kuokoa Sonkore. Haya, I fuel prices loom on parallel dollar rates. Hakuna dola Kenya. Carry to exceed tax target by record 140 billion revenue. Rongai woman recounts our deal of aura. Okay? Taifa Leo inasema Raila afufua Kalonzo. Okay. Taifa Leo, Raila afufua Kalonzo, kiongozi wa chama cha Wiper. Kalonzo Musyoka ameanza kupata nguvu mpya katika ngome yake ya Ukambani baada ya kuzika tofauti zake na mgombea urais Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance Raila Odinga, huku viongozi wa eneo hilo walioingia Azimio hawali wakibakia watazamaji tu. Haya, hapo People Daily, most costly campaign paying dearly because MPs throughout IBC proposals took up spending on campaigns. Candidates are paying through their nose in battle for feasibility. By the way, now on another story, they said that the country is borrowing 3 billion daily as the Senate gives a blank check. 3 billion daily is what the nation is borrowing daily as the Senate gives a blank check. You are speaking, Edda, and also while you're speaking, maybe you can refer to some of the headlines.
To the borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
No,
the headlines
I was responding to this gentleman who said that there are so many things to blame for our economy performing so poorly. Okay. And I was saying that our number one problem is the kind of leaders that we've had in both houses, in the executive, and you cannot isolate one particular leader and say that it is because of him that this has happened or it has not happened properly. One of the things that we have lost over the years in Kenya is the concept of activism. And I was asking some people the other day, why is it that in Kenya we no longer see the Boniface Mwangis and the people taking to the streets to protest inflation, to protest police brutality? People have remained quiet over the years. And if you look at the kind of presidency this has been, and especially in the last 4 years, it's been a presidency that has not been challenged. At the moment you do not have opposition in a country, things tend to go very bad. Because then the leader of the country, or the executive in this case, will push the limits and they'll do whatever it is that they want to do. For example, we saw Nairobi County. The deputy governor resigned. Then the governor was impeached. And then for some time, things almost went very bad. Someone was brought in to hold fort for, I think, about 2 years. And then instead of going through the law, finding out what the law requires or how the law should be applied so that we can fill that vacuum, we saw the president, what do you say it? He invoked an executive order and installed the national Nairobi Metropolitan Services. And some people went to court, they challenged it, and it was actually declared unconstitutional. But it has remained in place. And not only is it still functional, it's being allocated a lot of money from God knows where, money that would otherwise, or is targeted for Nairobi County, but is mysteriously finding its way through NMS in a very unprocedural manner. And that is just one of the examples. We have a presidency that has overstepped, and they have done everything that they want to do. If you look at the parliament, for example, National Assembly and the Senate, what have they done to gag the executive or to control the executive? To control the executive? Nothing. There are rumors that these people are even paid to ensure that some bills pass so that the executive can have its way at the end of the day. There are rumors that some of them do not even go to parliament to legislate. We've seen some being listed and shamed in the papers that they have never spoken in parliament.
Okay.
And what is the role of Bunge? It is just to ensure that, they legislate and they oversee and they ensure that they play an oversight role so that we don't have one arm of government overstepping.
The other.
And so we're in a crisis because we are a nation of people who've been very quiet and people who I wouldn't say we are afraid. We just don't care anymore. And because of that, things are going very, very bad. Now, before the handshake, these papers used to be filled with cases of corruption, scandals left, right, and center. And so we cannot say that things have been better or they were worse before the handshake and now we have, to make excuses. But what I would say is this. As we come to the election in about 50 days, Kenyans need to make a deliberate choice to ensure that the kind of leaders that they elect moving forward are what we have not been experiencing, or they do not reflect what we have seen in the last 10 years, so that we can correct it. And then number two, Kenyans also need to speak up. And by speaking up, we must say that we need to say no. We need to challenge the judiciary. We need to challenge the National Assembly and the executive. And until that happens, we will continue saying, things are bad, this happened, and nothing will be done. About borrowing, it's a case that for me has been, it's a thorny issue. Here in the papers, the Auditor General is saying that 70 billion of the debt, overall debt, and as of now, it stands at 9 trillion, 10 trillion, sorry. Yes. Which is actually beyond the debt ceiling. So you can, that is what I mean when I say that Bunge has not actually been doing its job. And she says that this money cannot be accounted for, which means that it was borrowed, but it was not invested where it was meant to be invested. It must have ended up in people's pockets. And if it is in people's pockets, and you know very well this is debt, so we have to pay it back, it is Wanjiku who will be paying it back. So where is Wanjiku going to pay back? Where is Wanjiku going to get this money to pay back? Money that was not invested for the well-being of, Mwananchi. It is through taxes. So taxes go high and they keep going higher. We are being told that this issue of fuel increases because the Kenyan shilling has been weakened. And this thing, by this, is it a domino effect? But it's a cycle. One thing leads to another and you keep going back and back. Why has the shilling weakened? Because we're importing more than we are exporting. And when we touch of the issue of ensuring that we manufacture enough so that we can export more than import, in this case, the issue of mitumba. You had Raila Odinga during the manifesto launch say that, we need to actually start thinking about exporting more. So we need to manufacture more for export and try to control the importation of some of these. And by the way, let me tell you, hata watu wakikasirika bitoka, just listen, hata watu wakikasirikia issue ya mitumba, we know for sure that most of these things are they just come to be dumped here. Hata mkinunua mingi, si zote zinaenda. So we import a lot and we don't consume actually all those, items that we import. And in this case, nguo. So Raila Odinga is here saying that we need to export more. Where do we get to export? We get from manufacturing. So we manufacture. Now, the cost of fuel has gone up. So even this cost of fuel that has gone up will affect manufacturers, and then manufacturers will pass on that expense to the consumers. And so it's something that we cannot address one thing in particular. We just have to, it is all rounded. One thing touches another. And until we are able to have that conversation without politicizing, if we talk about exporting more and importing less, let us not go to rallies and start saying, huyu mzee, huyu kitendawili anakataa anasema. Let us say that he's got a point. But how do we drive that point to wananchi without causing any harm to their businesses? We say that it is okay to import, but let us also promote manufacturing and ensure that we balance. So for me, borrowing this much money is an economic crime. And the ones who go and leave us with this amount of debt, of course, they'll go out rich. No one is sitting in government borrowing money on behalf of Kenyans who is poor. I am poor. The person making that decision is not poor. So when he exits, maybe the term ends and they leave, they will live with their money in their pockets, but they will live Wanjiko, mwananchi wa kawaida, feeling the pinch because they have to cough up more money in order to pay, taxes. Okay. So we need to control our appetite. I think we've borrowed enough, and given that we are not getting returns for this for this money that we are borrowing to invest, because we are not even investing it in the first place, we might want to consider borrowing less, or actually just putting a cap and saying that now let us think about how we are going to make more money to be able to pay this debt and to be able to also sustain ourselves moving forward.
And I know that you've said maybe we should not blame the president for this. Oh, then should we blame?
No.
Where does it rest?
The blame lies squarely on him.
Okay.
He's the captain of this ship. And he said that one of the things he says is that there are many people who've stolen. And the question then becomes, what were you doing when they were stealing? And these people who are stealing, we know them. We've seen them. Some of them are in office. Some of them have been taken to court. I hear some have their assets frozen. You really do not know what has been going on, because everybody says huyu ni mtu ni mbaya, ameiba, but you will never see them being arraigned in court. Huyu mtu alifanya, but you will never see anyone being held accountable. So the number one person to blame is obviously the president. We could say also members of parliament. We could say senators. We could say governors, because again, ile corruption kubwa sana iko pale nini county governments. So everybody is to blame. But the person who can make these people accountable is Wanjiko, because we have to say enough is enough. We take these people, all of them, take them out. Do not return any of them to office. Anyone who's been alleged of corruption should go. Corruption. Anyone who has a case in court, anyone who's been alleged, anyone who's been suspected of having that, take them all out. Bring in a new breed of leaders. And then it does not stop there. Mi naambianga watu, even in Kabete, uchaguzi sio kuweka kura tu. Usipige kura and then urudi kwa nyumba unyamaze. You have to remain vigilant, and you have to speak up at all times. If something comes up, let us not sweep it under the rug and say, this is Kenya anyway, these things will always happen. Speak up, because until we do that,
a lot of things will continue going wrong.
Yeah.
Haya. Ojwang, umesikia magazeti ya leo vile zinasema. And you've heard where the state of things.
Right, and I agree with the Mheshimiwa. Except I don't like that word we. Because it covers more than it reveals. In that we, there is one person who has done this wrong. And so we are all, we as Kenyans,
on his behalf.
I think we have borrowed. No, Kenyans did not borrow it. There is no we. One individual went and said, negotiated this thing. So let us, it begins by calling evil by its name. And not giving it absolution or sharing it. Because then it comes, we are all corrupt. Even you, because you have not got into office, we don't know whether you'll be corrupt. Well, give me that chance. So let us not use words like we. Let us name the individuals.
Name and shame them.
Yeah, that individual you are saying you are meeting tomorrow did not go and borrow. And of course, it is true that the idea of opposition and civic engagement has gone down. That I agree totally. They have scaled down. But you see, that still cannot excuse bad things that you see. You guys, because you are not making noise, that's why I did more bad things. That is a stopgap or a worst case scenario, but it is that people should just do the right thing in the first place. I think that I've read the newspaper. Of course, you know that the issue of second-hand clothes have been here. I'm surprised because, the data, Mheshimiwa, shows that 70% of mitumba traders are actually women. And there is no place for government to say people should dress this way. One, life is about many choices. And when you talk of I have banned, that language of banning is a language that generally is not pro the people. We saw when motorcycle were banned, border were banned. So that language is a language of power, but it's a language of policing poverty and militarizing things. You don't need to ban, you just need to offer alternative. And by the way, economists are now coming and saying, can Kenya grow competitively cotton? Because we know that we know that things have changed. India is bringing a lot of materials at a cheaper cost.
Yes.
Should we go back to the 60s where we still talk of cotton, or we could find other more productive things? Maybe bordering what Wajakoya is saying, be innovative. But even without that silliness, there are other high-yielding crops because it appears that we must look for competitive advantage. We cannot just shoot from the hip and say, because in the 60s we saw cotton, let us start again doing cotton. It should be what is competitive. But I've seen one thing that caught my eyes in the title, headlines, is the issue of Rwanda refugees. Or refugees
from UK
to Rwanda.
Yes.
And she was talking of dumping in Africa. And that came to mind because now the idea that UK is shifting their asylum responsibility to Rwanda and paying Rwanda to host asylum seekers appears to some extent that no, you are simply wiggling your way from your responsibility. These people, before they came to Britain for asylum, they knew there was Rwanda. Once they're there, the Refugee Convention give you that responsibility to protect them. And so don't think of Africa as where you are wretched of the earth. Host them in the UK with those opportunities and let them have, because you see, one thing people like, just like even the Mitumba issue, people feel that if they don't see poverty around, then it does not exist. So I don't want to see Mitumba. Therefore, there is nobody poor. I don't want to, but that is not fair, because people put on Mitumba for obvious reason that there is less opportunity. So just increase the purchasing power. But you want to sweep it under the rug and say, okay, the same thing UK is doing. So if we can't see refugees here, then there is no refugee problem. And you know very well that when a problem is in Britain, it becomes a world issue. But when it is in Rwanda, it will be an African issue. And so the world will lose their attention. There will be no more talking about it. They will quietly suffer with us. And that is the concern. Even more so, why are they refugees? Can somebody go further to say, why do we live in a world? And to me, that is what is important and should occupy our time and concern our effort. Why do we live in a world that with all the talk of rights, we are seeing the huge disparity between the poor and the rich. We are seeing the huge disparity between the have and have-nots. We are seeing the huge disparity between the rich countries and poor countries. Rich counties in Kenya and poor counties. Rich people and poor people. This is unnatural, and that's what Mandela is saying, that when you see serious poverty, it's a sign of violation of so many rights. It's not natural. People don't just get poor. It is a structure. It is policies that are sending some community and some people the dinosaurs route. It is the thinking. It is the mindset. And so when you find that in this era which we talk so much of human rights, in this era where we talk of a transformative constitution, is it? The 2010 one, is the same era where we are seeing the worst human rights abuse, the worst kind of poverty in Kenya, and the worst kind of disparity. And that question is where now the candidates must apply their mind that you are not going to go to an election and Kenyans will not gloss over the high cost of living. And it sucks to be you if you are the cause of this. You are not going to cover people's and gloss over it with some other generalities. Life is tough. People are saying if you are the problem, you cannot be the solution. And people are saying you give us your approach. Others, so for example, some candidates are saying, okay, we have tried the trickle down, but it has ended up where we are. Let us try a bottom up. What could that mean? It is a way of saying, instead of borrowing to do mega projects that benefit only a few people, why can't we intentionally think of the one that reaches a lot of people? And that is a constitutional talk of social justice.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can you name one mega project that has been done that is benefiting just a few people in the country?
That is benefiting just a few people in the country. I will start from the macro level. The macro level is telling us that the economy is doing well. But in reality, the economy for most Kenyans is not doing well. So then, where is this money? Okay? And as a researcher, I start from the problem. So the economy in the books of Kenya is not suffering. But the reality is that the cost of living for most Kenya is worse, and most Kenya are feeling more pressed than others. Then you move to, okay, where is this source of prosperity and where is it located? Then you find it is located within a few people in the society. So that the current corruption in Africa is not the going and taking money. It's coming with a project that is calculated to siphon money. And I could name several projects, but that's not the issue for me.
I think it's the issue because we like throwing big words. And you see, like now I can tell you, most of the people who are watching us now are not economists. So they do not understand these jargons that we throw around. Maybe we need to break it down and talk about, if you're talking about the Nairobi Expressway, for example, which is a project that costed a lot of money. And I was telling people...
Triple its original cost.
Underneath this massive, huge expressway, there are people who cannot afford 3 meals a day. But you look at, and I compare it to Thika Road. Thika Road is the first mega road that was a superhighway that was constructed in Kenya. And back then, you remember the backlash that Moi Kibaki received for that road. Oh, it is too expensive. Oh, it is displacing people.
There was a backlash.
Oh yes. You remember people's businesses were pulled down. Yeah. And people complained and they said, how can you consider such a big, expensive project that you finance using borrowed money at the expense of millions of small traders who set up business and they're feeding their families and so on and so forth. And today you look back, 10, 12 years later, you can see the value that this road has brought to that part of the country. And some of these projects, and I keep saying this and telling people that we just need to be patient as Kenyans. Because these are projects that, one, they're capital intensive. And when you think about them, and in comparison to, like now what you're talking about, the poverty index, you think maybe this is not a priority. But these are projects that you begin to draw returns from years down the line. They open up, that road, Thika Road, for example, has opened up the country. It has, ensured that more people are now resettle that area. We have industries in Thika and beyond. And businesses are booming. That courtesy of that road, people have built apartments there. They are making a lot of money. Businesses are thriving. So when we talk about you're working on a mega project right now, which is capital intensive at the expense of poor Kenyans, you also need to understand that we have a future that we have to start building from now, and saying that, yes, it will cost us this much now. It will even cost us our comfort. But at the end of the day, a few years down the line, how are we going to benefit from this? And I'll talk about Central Kenya, for example. And this is where the president comes from. He comes from my county. And we have very many, many roads that have really opened up the county. all these expressway that have been constructed, they are reducing your time, the time that you take to move from Rongai. Okay. If you move from Ngong and you want to go to Ruaka, a journey that would have taken you an hour and more is today taking you like 20-25 minutes, which means we are saving on time, we are saving on cost, and many other things. So this issue of mega projects, and I like to defend them because this is actually what has made China thrive. That you take the issue of dams, for example, we know that money was borrowed to construct dams. That money ended up in people's pockets. If those dams were constructed, people there would be farming. We'd be talking about exporting what we are importing, maize, for example. So the issue for me is, instead of attacking these projects, let us say that we borrow too much for these projects, and these projects sometimes are not value for the amount of money that we borrow. Maybe that could be the conversation, but so that's just
but I think that's a fair intervention. We have not been shown, even some parties have gone to court, what SGR costed, what is the contract. We have not been shown. But you probably have more faith than the rest of Kenyans that even though we have not seen the contract, it is for all good. And it's good to have people who are optimistic in the society. Right now, we have not known, and what have been said is that it was run 3 times the cost. So already, when somebody is saying the problem of the mega project that are meant to take money, then right there, the 3 times the cost of what it should cost is the taking part. Well, why did somebody venture into it and cost it 3 times? Is it so that they donate to Kenyans? Is it so that they develop Kenya better? It is exactly what I'm saying. It is for the sake of their pocket. And that there lies the mischief. Because this is a project that you can eat. So somebody, do not start from what do I need to do for the people. Start from what project can I come with that is big enough and bad enough to make me rich. Why is that a problem? Because rather than doing things that create employment. And that there goes the mamamboga, what we are talking about. You can't take those billions and put them in a project, and these Kenyans will walk in that tarmac without money. Or you can take those billions and put it in a project that create employment. One of the problems in Kenya is unemployment. Therefore, yes, it cannot just be as long as you have, most Kenyans say, hata kawa wamekula lakini wamejenga vitu. No, that is just saying, by the way, you are expecting and you are benchmarking with the worst case scenario. We are saying, why should money be eaten? Why should that project not be a perfect fit to our problem? If our problem is unemployment, why take billions and build it in a project that produces gun that only employ 100 people? You could have taken that same money, we are an agriculture country, and build a project that come with thousands of employment. So I think that we are converging here, and I still stick to my idea that those projects are not well thought of, or they are really well thought of as a way of siphoning money. And in fact, there is even the corruption index that is showing that the current corruption in Africa, people have become smart. Sio ile ya just taking money. That can never work. It is designing a project with you in mind.
With your money, with your cut in mind.
And the more vague it is, the more amorphous it is, the more that nobody... It started with the land being 3 times whatever. It started with Naivasha and whoever is in Naivasha. It started with this is what we want to do. That is not the framework of the Constitution. The framework of the Constitution is, I know what we need as the Kenyans. You come to us and sit with us, ask us, what can we do together? But you don't just go to China, borrow in our name, come with this project in a corner. somewhere and come and say, you know what, Ojwang, I've realized that because you are tall, you need games kit. Work with us. And therefore, I still think that the biggest corruption, really, I can deal, and it's very easy to see money has been taken. But the biggest corruption is pulling a wool over the people's face by coming with a project that you have designed from the beginning. Don't people say that corruption is budgeted in Kenya? How is it budgeted? Because you are not coming with things for the people. You are coming with things for yourself. And when you are coming for things for yourself, because we have also lowered our expectation. And I think Mheshimiwa here have helped us to lower it even further today, so that as long as hawajakula sana.
That much I agree with you, that indeed money I have never and I will never defend corruption. And I'm not one of those people who will be extremely negative without offering solutions. And what I keep telling Kenyans is that we must develop our infrastructure for growth, to experience growth and development in this country. And there's nothing wrong with building roads and building dams and everything that you're calling mega. The issue, and I will insist, is stealing. Exaggerating the numbers so that you can have a certain, and everybody from the engineer to everyone, the minister here, they ask for a certain kickback. So the issue is that a lot of money is siphoned, it is stolen. As they source for these funds, they procure loans. In the process, they steal. Because you see, let me tell you something, Bitok. Ukienda kwa bank leo to borrow money to build a house, you want to construct an apartment. This bank, maybe you have given your land as a security, or whichever other facility you may have, or other maybe a car or something, and you procure that loan. The bank does not give you that money in wholesome. They give you in tranches. After a particular milestone, they will come, inspect the building, say, oh, the foundation seems to be good. Okay, now we are going to release the next amount of money, which is a third of the total amount. And then after that, they'll come, inspect, see, oh, this is good. So after this milestone, we give you the rest until you complete the building. Now, in Kenya, we are procuring money. You go out of the country to Italy, and they're no longer just borrowing from governments. They're also borrowing from private investors. You go, you sit down with investors and you convince them that there's this project that you want to do to help your people and that you'll pay handsomely. I mean, they give you some funny interest rates and you say, we will pay because you're in a hurry, you just want the money. And these people go and give you the entire money without really wanting to find out
where you want to go.
Are you doing this project? How far are you with this project? They just give you the money. That tells you that even these creditors are liable.
But they're in business.
So they're in business, yes.
But
as a country, we can actually petition. Yeah, we can declare these loans odious debt, and we go to court and say.
I remember we did a petition for IMF, but they said it's not in our interest. If they want money, we give them money.
Yes, but you see, the citizens can actually take these public servants to court. We can and say this is odious debt. We cannot see where this money went to. We do not agree. We need to see the agreement between the creditor and the borrower or the representative of the borrowing nation. We need to see the details inside that. And then we need to challenge this and compel these borrowers to pay the loans.
That can work.
It can work, and it should be done.
But because you are close to them, why don't you just whisper to them? Why you go to court?
I'm educating the people here, because one of the things we need to do is educate the people and try to get them to understand that we have options out of these problems, as opposed to just complaining and blaming others and trying to. So that is one of the things that we can do.
By the way, that cannot work. Let me help you. As a lawyer who teach law, the countries are sovereign. And the responsibility, I was being nice, it cannot work. There is
it
no
can
day.
Work and there's precedence?
No, there is no day. Let me tell you, there is no day you can go and say that did not help me. Therefore, the president, as the head of state, not even government, has power to bind the state. And therefore, this is not your mother. The donor is not your mother to say, why is your shoe and socks on the table? China is not your mother. we are used to the US lying to us and saying, coming with conditions. No, read Dambisa Moyo. These are rent-seeking, and the reason the loans are easiest to siphon is because what give another country sovereignty or more power to come check after you as IMF? IMF is an organization just like the talk show. Only that they have more money than you. Most of the time you are broke. So why should IMF come to a state, a sovereign, and say it is your fault, you gave me all the money? No, those are laughable. But go on.
There is actually, because when you have bad governance, this is what we have been experiencing is bad governance.
You have to draw an apology.
And you have to.
How can you say I'm always broke?
No, sometimes. But you are even bigger than IMF, only that IMF has money. These are private things. So how can they come to a sovereign that is a member of UN, that is a member of General Assembly, that has a defined territory, that has its people and its government, to come and say, I mean, it's like, to come and say, show me where that money went. That is not their responsibility. And that is why I like China, by the way. Because these Western countries, we are now celebrating the 30 years of the death of the person who wrote How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Because he was saying they have been lying to us, that they are responsible and they are checking. They have not been checking. The mega scandals, European bond or Euro bond, is European. Anglo-leasing, have Europe countries. Goldenberg, have Europe country. Tokyo. So this idea that Western countries have been checking on us is damn lies. They have actually been part of the corruption network in this country. But so chicken gate. But China say, I'm not your mother. You are a sovereign. You have the mandate of your people. You have come. I am doing business. You come, take that loan, and be responsible for once. And I don't think it's their business or or expect that there is any court that can now say the president borrowed, because the president bind the state.
You can, under international law, you do actually, and I've actually read a few cases of states, even in the United States, that have taken these odious regimes to court and said that this money was borrowed, it was not invested for the well-being of the public. And so the public, under this, I'll share the details with you.
No, but until then, it doesn't exist, because I teach international law.
Let me tell you something. I'm actually talking about odious regimes, because as a public, where do you draw the line? How do you end up controlling the government? There must be a way out, and this way is
the Constitution.
And you see the public,
impeachment and voting.
Exactly. We will come there.
No, not that one. No, just leave that other one. Exactly. It's getting me nervous because it's not going to happen.
We will exchange this.
No, there's no notes to compare on that.
That's fine.
Thanks.
So once we complain, that we say this money was borrowed, it was not invested for the well-being of the poor, then we must compel these people who borrowed the money on behalf, like you see,
to pay on our behalf.
In which court?
In Henry Rotich, the former finance minister's case, where he says that he borrowed a lot of money on behalf of the ministry, and this money was actually paid to people to do the dams. They never did them. So who are these people? We list them, we know them. Take them to court. We ask, where is the money? Can you pay back this money? You see. The other thing, I actually forgot the point I was trying to bring out.
Sorry for interrupting you.
But we have to hold these people accountable. Ask where this money is, because it's a lot of money. And not just say that, we just have to change these people and nobody is held accountable. People have to be held accountable. And that's why we are saying, even when the president says that people have stolen a lot of money and there's nothing I can do, he's actually committing a very big crime. Because it tells us that he knows where this money is. He just does not want to do anything about it because he's playing safe politically. And that is where we've lost it as a country. And let me just say this. I have no issue with Mama Mbogas. And I've had people peg the
platform.
They're saying that they want to improve the Mama Mbogas' life. They want to create more employment. They want to help industries. You see, like Keroche was closed down the other day. They're saying that they want to boost the economy. And when they say that they're going to promote mama mbogas and to put more funding into mama mboga, what I keep wondering is to do what exactly for these businesses? Because you need to begin with farming. You need to begin with agriculture so that you ensure that these mama mbogas have continuous supply for their products. If you go to Angige today by 2 p.m., if you go to the market by 2 p.m., you'll find that maybe a lady who sells ndomas has already finished her product. And she says, there is limited supply. Even when you go to Gikomba, there's only as much you can buy. And by noon, they're already done with their business. And much of this food that we are selling in our markets is actually imported. I saw Pwani Oil say that they're going to close down because they no longer have raw materials. Nobody is farming, whatever produce they use to make this oil. And so I keep saying that one of the things that we have to ensure, in the case of Mama Mboga, for example, is can we have continuous supply, and not just continuous supply, also good yield. Because you go to farms in Nyadona, where I come from, Kabete, and you find that what they are growing is actually not high yield sometimes because they lack access to seeds. They are very expensive. Seeds are very expensive. The other products that you need for farming, manure, for example, dawa ya kupiga because of, insects and all. So farming becomes very expensive because of the products that you need, you require, and the process itself, and even eventually getting it to the market. Because most farmers there call traders to come and buy from the market. And these traders prefer to sell their products to high-end markets. The zucchini and the rest.
Yes, supermarkets.
And supermarkets, yeah. So you have to balance. Actually, my argument is this. You have to balance when it comes to the economy. You have to touch on this. Don't just touch on mama mboga because kuna kura mingi hapo. Do not just touch on boda guys because kuna kura mingi. You have to look into issues that would otherwise create a better business environment for these people. And then when you bring it out, let it be holistic. Let it not just be mitumba ni mbaya, you're going to affect people's businesses. Bring it out and say that, well, and by the only solution to mtumba is actually manufacturing our own. If you go to EPZ, one of those designer, maybe even this designer suit you're wearing, Bitok, is from EPZ.
Nashuku sana.
Inapelekwa Italy, inarudishwa hapa, na 60 times the cost of, the price.
The actual price.
You go to EPZ, you find that there are very many designers.
How much did these guys sell it to us here? If they were making it here?
Extremely expensive. A designer, Genia Victoria Beckham, hapo inatengenezwa. And it's shipped out, maybe at a cost of 8,000 per pair. Then it's brought back into the country, costing about 27,000. That's like 3 times the cost. Wow. So if we can actually ensure that we lock let's not actually lock our borders, let's just have a policy where we say 60% or 50% of what we manufacture must be sold or consumed locally. And then the 40% goes out to compensate for what we must import. Then we will realize that we export more, we import less. And so there's a lot of money in circulation. No, I read something somewhere where someone was saying the best business nowadays that has substituted hard work in Kenya is wash. And everybody is trying to look for a way to wash someone.
But even Kenya, the country is washing.
Exactly. You wash. Kila mahali ni wash. People no longer value hard work. If you go to Nyadona, Mogoga, those areas where we farm in Kabete, you'll see young men and women coming out of the farm. They are very proud. They are farming pigs. They are doing very well farming. But ukitokea ukiingia kwa mtandao, you go to Instagram, you see someone, hi, you think this is the real life. And so you start looking down on farming. And when you're talking to, when I talk to young people in Kabete, I tell them, what kind of other employment do you think I can help you create? It is farming.
Wow.
We have to farm. Don't say that you want a white-collar job. We all can't fit in those offices. But you can ensure we do something to have this farming business generate enough income for us so that we can even be compared to people who sit in offices. And so the challenge with Kenya is how we look at things generally. And I'm not saying let us all be positive and extremely positive, but sometimes I feel like complaining too much and without offering solutions and attacking each other all the time without thinking critically at, how or what we can do to improve our status is really not helping our country. Kila mtu amekasirika siku hizi kwa hii nchi. Which is not helping.
For one to complain, they have to think. For one to even come with a question, they have to think. So thinking does not catch up later. This is a well-thought process from the beginning. Because otherwise, for you to know that this is a conspiracy, this SGR is not serving me, that is already a lot of thinking there. But is Mheshimiwa alluding that Mama Mboga does not include Mboga? Because and that will be an oversight whoever is selling Mama Mboga, that Mama Mboga does not include the Mboga that the Mama Mboga is selling.
What is your point?
You're focusing too much on attacking me. You're missing the point. What I'm saying is, what is the business with Mama Mboga? The point here. Yeah. What is this business Mama Mboga is into? Selling groceries. Where are they coming from?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
How is the supply chain? Yeah.
But that's what I was saying. That you are saying they are focusing on Mama Mboga and not on the agriculture. And that is what I was saying. Mama Mboga, the Mboga is the agriculture, surely. And therefore, that focus is directly agriculture. I wasn't just not just attack, by the way. I think I didn't put it well, but I'm simply saying that definitely you cannot talk of Mama Mboga and leave the Mboga. That is why they are Mama Mboga. And that means that from what I have heard, even in the bottom-up economy, it is that 60% is employment is agriculture. And that is why the criticism of let us do projects that target this agriculture. Let us make, that is why there is the offer of the minimum return. That is why there is the offer of saying, let us make farming work by helping with the market, because it's a value chain. If that person doing Mboga there, do it well and bring it to the mama here, Mama Mboga, then it will feed everybody. Only that the approach is let us start from that Mama Mboga instead of starting from who is the engineer that is going to build SGR. It is kind of a mindset. But because I look at some of the promises, whether they come, that is a different story. But the idea of that bottom up is about access to credit and lending. We know that the farm that she's talking about, the very good farm, you need mechanization. And you need to be able to do things a little more modern and in a way that can secure. A lot of food are wasted in this country because of lack of storage, and as she's saying, because of poor transportation and all that. So at the end of the day, the focus of economy, in my view, is that when economy focus on the people at the lower chain, then it is a different approach, because when they have money, then everybody will have money. But when we only focus on the deal signed at the mega deal signed with the EU, with this big company, and you find they don't, that's where the word comes, the trickle down. That if everybody's doing fine at the top, everybody then will now, by osmosis, do well. It usually does not happen. But if we focus on those people at the lower need that have been marginalized, then if they do well, then you find that they access the credit, they access the market, they have minimum return, they have value chain, additional value chain, and there's a lot of good things going on in Kabete, where you find even these dairy farms, somebody is producing yogurt, and that already have added more value to this thing. Somebody is nini, and what the mischief that we are seeing, isn't it ironical that we are in a country where we are still importing, like you are saying, basic food and a number of it, while we are in a country which can produce, and a few years ago we were doing much better than we are now. That right now most Kenyans cannot feed themselves. And if people cannot feed themselves, then you can find that the issue of dignity, then is taken, because right to life and right to health is undermined if I'm not feeding myself. So the focus on agriculture, to me, makes a lot of sense. I think that people get to the government and there is a lot of opaqueness. Corruption can be dealt with when we have accountability, and that accountability should come in terms of open government. It starts with, what deal did you sign with China? Show us so that we can see. And but once you cannot show us that deal, that is where corruption comes. So I think, and for whoever can advise the Kenya Kwanza team, and even the Azimio team, I didn't see them in their manifesto, but it's not too late to add a few good things, even in the Azimio manifesto. Add there that you are about open governance. Don't just say, I'm a good person, therefore I will deal with corruption. You know my heart. The biggest corruption is in the State House. Have it in your manifesto, how from your bedroom in the State House. And this does not matter who become a president, isn't it? It comes with the territory. Let that corruption war begin at the State House. And that is why Kenya Kwanza have not presented their manifesto. I will urge them to add open governance and tell us from State House what they're dealing with. Kenya, the Azimio manifesto, not too late. Add these good lines there instead of just saying, look at me, I have a clean heart, I will do a good job.
All right. Aja tusikie bunge la Mwananchi. Your headphones on, please. Good morning, bunge la Mwananchi. Jambo.
Hello.
Yes, mambo vipi?
Mambo poa sana Bitok. Salimia Doc na Eda hapo.
Umesalimiwa ngwana.
Asante.
Kitu mimi ni nataka kuambia Eda, na muomba afuatilie sana hii mambo ya economic forums.
Okay.
Ataona the biggest priority being given by the doyen of politics, William Ruto, ni mambo ya farming.
Okay.
Case in point, the Kiambu Economic Forum. There was a guy who presented the farmers very well. Mwambia afuatilia hapo, and she will understand that the bottom-up model is mainly focusing on ideas given by the people, for the people, not necessarily those guys who sit in boardrooms, then they come up with ideas and they are very good on paper, but kwa ground mambo ni different. Otherwise, they should...
Asante, thank you.
Ambia Doc pale wakati kuna jamaa wetu waliletwa petition na ameiba kura, Doc ndiye alikuwa one of the people sitting in the panel.
Na tukafanya justice.
Angalia the clear nini ule bottom up person, ule clear hustler. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, my brother. Have a good day. Let's go Kenya. Interesting people. Bunge la Mwananchi liko wazi, nambari ni 0779801010. Bunge la Mwananchi liko wazi, nambari ni 0779801010. Kama kawaida, nambari ni 0779801010. Unaweza kupiga simu kuweza kuchangia kwenye mjadala wa leo. Haya, wacha niangalianga comments. Frederick Juma, hello Bitok, niko locked in from Nairobi. Asante sana. Masi Kosge, hello my brother. Good morning to you, Masi. Dangana Mutonyi, listening from Kilimani. Yaya, asante sana. Davis Kelman, remember even political civic engagements as cartels and they're in bed with the state. Okay. Juenjagi, wow. Dr. Ojwang, calling Wajakoya plant silliness. Wow. Okay. Namesema umeambia Wajakoya ni plants yake ni silliness. Good morning.
Have we spoken of Wajakoya?
Bunge la Mwananchi. Bunge la Mwananchi, jambo.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Salamia Eda na Doc.
Asante.
Yeah, been long time man. Umepotea sana Gerald.
Aaron, mambo wewe umepotea. Sisi tuko bwana.
Niko ready si tarus bwana.
Nimesema Aaron.
Yeah. Nilikuwa nimeenda Kishagi.
Ulikuwa umeenda kwani Kishagi hakuna network?
Nilikuwa nimeenda Bomet bwana.
Tulitumanga balloon ya internet. Huko inafaa kuwa na 4G.
Huko hakuna bwana, iko ni kupanda miti kidogo. Lakini mambo iko ngumu. Maneno ya farming bana nimekuwa shida huko bana. Fertilizers na hii nini, I mean the seeds ile tulipata huko mbovu kabisa. So I think Doyen hii poto map naona itatusaidia wakati ataingia kwa hii urais.
Okay.
Juu sasa watu wanaumia sana kwa sababu wanapewa wrong seeds, wrong fertilizer, so unapanda hata mimi sikupanda kitu, hakuna kitu nimepata. Umetumia a lot of money.
Unapata zero
na you have used a lot of money.
Wow.
Shamba ndio umeharibu bure na hakuna kitu unapata.
That is so discouraging.
Very, extremely.
Very discouraging. Alafu unaona sasa hii hakuna food Kenya kwa sababu ya vitu kama hizo. Watu wameacha farming bwana, wanakuja kufanya vitu hata isaidii.
Wash. Edda amesema wanakuja kufanya wash. Unalima mpaka unachoka.
Unachoka.
Unaenda hii TikTok imeharibu watu.
TikTok.
Hii TikTok live ni mbaya. Najua farming iko na pesa.
Lakini iko aje na pesa bwana kama umesema umevuna zero?
Unajua shida ni nini? I think hii agriculture kuna a lot of cartels wana allow cartels wana import fake seeds.
Okay.
Na hizi fertilizer. So wakulima huko chini wanatumia sana.
Poleni bwana.
Unajua hii kitu inahitaji simple thing. Kukua tu na the right people. Make sure hata watu wa county wasaidike kwa sababu hii kitu tuliweka paka kwa county government kwa waelezea hii shida bado hawajaisaidia. Watu wa cartels kuna jamaa huko Narok is selling fake seeds. Na hii kitu tumereport hata polisi wanajua. Na ni mingi, unajua wanafanya nini? Wanaweka kwa wrong hii mifugo ya seeds. Unafikiri
the wrong one, yeah.
Ube ni to fake.
But that is crime.
That's crime. By the way, unajua it also happened huko nyumbani. Tulipanda mahindi bwana, hakuna kitu na mea.
Ouch.
It's happening. And Mamalisa.
Haroni. Pole tumeukatiza
sawa, thank you.
Asante sana. Pole sana Haroni. Salimu watu wa Bomet lakini. Nambari ni 779-800-010. Bugala Wanyechi 779-800-010. Joe Njagi amesema ulisema agenda ya Wajakoya ni silliness bwana. Can you withdraw and apologize before I call Wajakoya here? To puff pass you. Ama you still want to back up your point that it is silliness?
No, somebody said that I said the idea of
Wajakoya is silliness. Utavunja microphone.
No, the harvesting of poison and feeding Chinese the snakes. I thought that is innovative and interesting. I've never looked at world that way. But you know, it appeared in my view that he was putting too much on weed
and bange.
We will do this, we will pay our debt out of weed. Everybody will have money out of weed because we are planting weed. Everybody will have cure of cancer because there is good weed. Everybody will. So I felt that even assuming that it's a legitimate agenda, is stacking too much on weed. Okay. But I think that he offers the serious diversity that it takes. For example, you know, I was shocked, by the way, Professor Wajakoya has made it in the league of top 4, is it?
Yes.
Our friend Aukot.
Top 3, actually.
Yeah.
There are 3 horses now.
Yeah. Our friend Aukot, who wrote the Constitution, was there complaining of the too much requirement. And I'm saying, surely, Professor, you wrote this Constitution. Most of these mechanisms are in the Constitution that you are the secretary. Then now you are coming to IBC corridor and acting surprised, and you cannot believe it. That was amazing to me. So I'm very proud of my boy Wajakoya for having, in due time, ticked all the T's and dotted all the I's, and was able to make it, while the person who gave us the Constitution, our court, was there saying, how?
Ilitoka wapi?
Nani yeye aliandika katiba jamani?
That is it for you, Joe Njagi. Samuel Nyongesa waiting for Ambrose and Ojwang on this show, mainly on the coming elections. Where is Ambrose Weda, by the way?
Ambrose is very willing and able to grace this show. I think we can talk after this, because if he wasn't sure you are back, if you are sure that you are back, I can even be here within the week. And I think he would love to, yeah.
Sounds great. All right. Someone Aya Council of Education should have mandate to vet academic documents, but not IBC. The digital election with no ad copies on the station should be looked at with a second eye. Okay? Mambo IBC pia kuna shida hapo kidogo. Sam Kips, the biggest integrity issue is Baba conning Kenyans that he has a valid degree certificate and he doesn't. Okay. Shadrach Kiprotich, great conversation right there. Thank you. Just listening at the office with reflection on how life has now become harder this week after the fuel spiked. sad. We talk, you need to balance the equation next. I don't know which equation is not balanced. Okay. John Jage, thank you for you, Dr. Ojwang, for clarifying yourself. He has a different perspective. Okay. Eric Ndiema, what's wrong with M-Pesa services kiongozi? Inakuwaje tena na M-Pesa? Hebu nitumie ni confirm kama inafanya. Tutumie tu. Aro, huyo ni Doro kutoka Amerika. Anasema Aro Doro, Suzy Njeri, good morning. Bitiro no good morning. Watching live Asante Eric Leto, Lerico, watching from Doha, Qatar. I'm a big fan representing the Gulf family. Thank you so much. Kabugi, I can listen to Dr. Ojwang all day long. Okay, Jane Mumbi, Mheshimiwa, some roads are very good and welcome, but the expressway in Ovio too, the amount could have done a longer road with a much larger urban transport system. And I think that's where we need to go. We need an urban metro solution that you can move from anywhere very easily, not a one stretch, okay? Thiru Njenga watching from Kabete, Wangige, my next MP 2022. Rebecca Mga morning watching from Imara Teima. Thiru Njenga watching from Kabete, Wangike, EDDAH WAMBUI for Kabete. Haya, acha to untie. You need to untie us. You need to go on us. Rolling Soteko watching live from Nigeria. Thank you so much, the guys watching from Nigeria. Willie Kipkoruta, my friend. The lady is living in another planet. SGR from Nairobi to Suswa. What does it help us? Okay. Lucy Mwenga, what was the point of doing projects like SGR that kill businesses in Mombasa? Omwate Premier, are you guys also concerned that no side of the political divide is talking of dealing with Turkana oil? By the way. What oil? Tulitoa almost 270 billion in export of the oil that we exported. When you value it, it comes at 270 billion. The one that was extracted. Yes, and remember, I think the case was the friends of Turkana who went to court and said, again, show us the contract with Talo Oil. They went to Talo. The Talo company was saying, talk to your government. When they went to the government, talk to Talo. They said, this is a private thing with Talo. Talk to Talo. I cannot betray them. So up to now, and that is why I was saying this manifesto should reflect open governance. Because corruption reside in that, not because somebody have a better heart than the other. We don't know what was received, how it was distributed, and the rest of history. And so somebody's running the country like their piggy bank. You know how those banks where you put your coins and then... You remove anytime you want. Yes. Okay. Maura sema salimia Dr. Mary on the UDA tribunal panel with some moneyed people try to rob elected MCA candidate. Doc stood for the right thing. Yes. Should we be clapping for you? That's me. I saw you are getting worried when the comment was clap for you. Okay, one premier must be intolerance. Davis Kelman. The SGR project is a project to nowhere, from the seaport to a man's farm. Did you know that the money put in the SGR could do thicker road quality superhighway from Cape Town to Cairo, Egypt? Right. Imagine. Cape Town to Cairo, Egypt. Okay. Was it the best use of our money? So that our job is to wave at the train when they pass, if they pass at all. Boogie. We were told it would attract investment. Does anyone know a single company that has relocated investment to Kenya because of SGR? Zero. It has destroyed thousands of jobs, and I could take all day to enumerate. Okay, thank you. Aaron, good to see you. Good morning. Rosemary Kabugi, good morning to you. Zakaria Zaki, watching from London, United Kingdom. Asante. Steven Samu, MCA candidate Mkomani Ward, watching from Mkomani Nyali Constituency. Asante sana. Salimia watu wa Mkomani Nyali. Lucy Mwinga, facts. There is no time I've lacked on domain Wangige. Aaron Mwaura Isaac anasema hapo kwa mama mboga EDDAH is limited to info. She should watch the economic forums and understand the model being employed. Farmers are there. Farmers have given their ideas too. And I saw Ruta was so passionate about it. She can start with the Kiambu one. Okay. Good morning, guys. Good morning to you, David Oteng. Madam, no one is attacking you. I know how to listen. Okay. All right. She has listened. You guys, why do you want to fight my guest? Willie Kiprode Ruta, bottom up is the only way. Those are UDA supporters, eh? Otiang. You came with your... Otiang, zio UDA. Otiang, when were you there? Hebu confirm Otiang. Tafadhali chukua position. Otiang utaribu hii kitu. Utachoma hii kitu. No, tutaki mchezo kama hiyo tena hapa.
kwa studio.
Willing to bottom up is the only way that can help out and on our farmers. Wilfred Kamondo Mkosante anasema Wajakoya, the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. Patrick Mgure, it's either bottom up or Wajakoya. Okay. Showing the brilliant scholar. I love his articulate presentation. Charles Kangwana tata call watching. Asante sana. Thank you so much for that. Joan Jagi amesema asante kwa mambo ya clarification. In other news, ladies and gentlemen, there is a story here from. I mean, we are known even internationally for notoriety. So there's a story here from the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and Mauritius leaks, and it says Kenyan farm fined for elaborate tax evasion scheme through Mauritius. Afrigo, a real estate firm with ties to a Chinese construction giant, disguised more than $200 million using fake loans, fictional imports, phantom entities, and more with the help of bankers and the enablers, according to a government audit. Okay, a Kenyan real estate firm with ties to the Chinese government evaded tens of millions of dollars in taxes by making fake loans and fictional imports to businesses in Mauritius, one of Africa's most notorious tax havens, according to an audit by the Kenyan government. Afrigo Development Company Limited disguised more than $200 million with the help of bankers and other professionals, the Kenya Revenue Authority found in 2021 audit. Hi, in story nyingine. Let's go to another very important story that has happened as we towards the close. Ya kwanza ni the gender ruling that was made yesterday. Is this this morning? Yesterday. Actually,
the other day.
Yes.
Can I first respond to
the taco?
I did not say that there is no ndomas or you won't find ndomas in Wangige. I'm talking about the supply is limited. Mm-hmm. When you see that a woman is able to sell all her produce by 3 p.m., and normally they leave by around 6 p.m., it means that business is good. Mm-hmm. But the supply is limited. And it is not always. Okay. It is sometimes. I was there on last week on Friday. And then I was going around greeting the traders. One of them told me, hata nimemaliza kuuza. You see, tumemaliza tunaenda kutafuta ingine. Yeah. And I appreciate...
Soko ni kubwa mandumani kidogo.
Soko ni kubwa, obviously. I appreciate the fact that people from one wing have come out to defend, Dr. Ruto. And I don't even know why we are placing this burden on him alone, because we know there are 4 presidential candidates. Huh? Mm-hmm. Even the Azimio presidential candidate, Agano Party presidential candidate, right. Roots Party presidential candidate should address this farming issue. And the reason why I'm passionate about it is because it is our strength. And we need to listen. We need to talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Let's not just listen with the intention of responding or replying. Mm-hmm. Talk to one another so that the point and the perspective that you have is different from what I have. At the point where we converge, then we know that this is our feeling together. Yeah. Together as a people, this is what we are feeling, and this is the direction that we need to take. Because when you listen with the intention of just responding, you fail to understand that then we will continue with this cycle. We will never sit down to actually agree. What would happen if all Kenyans decided that they wanted to back one presidential candidate for one particular thing they've said that they're going to do, and that they're actually willing to be held accountable, and that people say that we will form a pact and this is what we are going to do once we back this presidential candidate and they get to power, then this is how we are going to hold them accountable. Our strength as a nation, our land is arable. Huh? We have very good weather. We have good land for farming because of the positioning of our country in the African continent. So it means that we need to pour our money and our energy in farming. And when I say that, I don't mean that you neglect all the other sectors, but you need to put all your effort, or at least a considerable amount of money into this particular sector. And once you do that, then you need to look at the other strength that we have, our population distribution. We are talking about 60% of this country being comprised of the youth, people who are below the age of 30. According to the census in 2019. That tells you that we have very many young people who are productive, some who are educated, they lack jobs, some who have jobs, some who don't have jobs, they've not been educated. And then, if we say that we're going to focus on agriculture, how are we going to tap into this generation? How will we tap into this workforce or this population to ensure that we empower them into this newfound or farming agriculture sector that we want to invest in. When you combine the two, and you have leaders who are intentional and leaders who really, in their hearts, they really want to help this country move forward, then we're going to experience, growth and development in the agriculture sector. And then we'll push our country forward. But when we talk about, yes, we've agreed there's wastage. I'm not saying that there has not been wastage. I've been on your show before and I condemned excessive borrowing. There has been wastage. There has been theft of public property. We've been seeing land and other properties being returned to government that had been stolen by individuals. There has been abuse of power, whereby you challenge the government and tomorrow you are whisked in a car to a court because of a case that a thing that you did 10 years ago. There has been a lot of things that have not been working. But if instead of listening to these issues or discussing them from a political or a particular political stand, let us talk about them as Kenyans who, when we are suffering, we experience this hardship together. You will not experience it as I'm an independent candidate. You will not experience it as a UDA candidate or a UDA candidate. It will be general. When you go to the shop and you're buying things, the pinch that you feel, your wallet is hurt. It is you as an individual, as a citizen. It is not you as a UDA candidate. And that's the point that I'm trying to bring across, that we understand our problems, we understand our strengths. So how do we move forward and what can we do to rectify the situation of our country? Others, I'll continue saying the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The ruling by IEBC that threw out the case on a third gender rule. Two-third gender rule.
Gender nomination
list. Yes, nomination list by political parties. And the courts are saying the parties have no responsibility to ensure that they can provide 2/3 on their nomination list to women. I don't know. Is this not a clawback on gender balance, Dr. Ojwang?
I'm glad you asked. We participated in this litigation because there is no legal framework to implement the 2/3 gender principle. So far, remember the latest law was the Political Parties Act, the one parliamentarians cannibalize each other in December. It did not require. And so a political party find itself without a mechanism to violate Article 38, which is saying people have a right to vote for whosoever they want. So now people have gone for nomination, produced their candidates. The party is saying we even waived fee for women candidates and for youth. We have a party that the Secretary General is a lady. We had women caucus. But when we went to nomination, we are not in control on how people vote. And once people have voted, IBC cannot tell us to tamper with that list. Because unlike other political parties that probably did polls or tossed coin to get their candidates, there was a nomination. Now, the court said that, listen, you as parliament and IBC that is now rejecting this list, have you come with a policy? Or it is a knee-jerk reaction within a week to the deadline is when you are telling political party do this. Did you come with regulation to make sure and to guide them on how to implement this? No. And they overly observe what happens. That we usually wake up and do things just the same way IBC is doing right on the eve of election and not throughout the process. And so the issue then that occupied court's mind on this one was that, wait a minute, there seems to be a conflict. You are saying people did their nomination, they have a right to vote for whoever they want, they have brought a list. So whom do you remove to put in so that the list can be so-called gender compliant? And they said you'll be doing a bigger sin than the sin of bringing the list as it is, because that is now where gerrymandering comes. That is where now people put their girlfriends. That is where people now remove the people they don't want, because there is no mechanism. If this is about the people voting, then let the people vote work. But of course, UDA also impress them with the women charter that they have come up with. And the promise of saying, you know what, 10 cabinets will be women. This is the money to empower women business. This is the money that the office of the president shall have a wing that is going to deal with gender-based violence. This is how we are going to make sure that the women business are protected, the maternity and the hustler care. I realized they came with hustler care as the other side as the Baba care. Is going to make sure that the issue of women and whatever is taken care of. So I think that has happened, but of course it is sad that the 2/3 gender rule have not been fully implemented. I think that it is time for political parties to take a bold step and actually implement it, because it's in the Constitution. And when women come up into this leadership position, in my view, they do better than men, by the way. Because the mothers take care of everybody, not just women. The mothers take care of the men and the women.
And the children.
If I could add on that, I would say that for the first time during this election, you've seen there are very many women who are running for different political seats. And I think it's an improvement from 2017. So we are expecting that more and more women are going to be elected for governor positions, Senate, MPs, a member of National Assembly, MCAs, and so on. And I think that is a solution that we have been looking for. Because you can say that as we stand, we know that the current parliament was declared unconstitutional because of not meeting the 2/3 gender rule. But there's nothing, I don't think there's much that Bunge can do when it gets there.
Once they have got there.
Once they've gotten there. The responsibility must be thrown back to wananchi to encourage them to elect more women. Because even this affirmative, women rep position is an affirmative action. But you see, it has not done much. Because that is going to end up, that position is going to end up with a woman anyway. Only women compete for that position. But we want to try and ensure that we attract more women in these other seats. And the only way we can do that is if we encourage Wanjiku to vote for more women even in these other positions. And I think what I've seen parties do is that they've also pushed for the nomination of more women candidates.
On their lists.
Yes. Okay. And so we are talking about UDA, for example, has 7 governor candidates who are female across the country.
With about 5.
And that's good.
Might make it.
Might make it, yeah. About 5 actually. Actually, 5. So that's good. If then we can have all the 80 political parties push for at least one woman governor in every county, or at least one Senate female candidate in every county, then their chances even become more improved. And we're talking about in 2027 actually now wanting to push for more men because women will be many. So if we walk or if we encourage that trend, then we won't have to worry about nominating after the election more women. We will have them elected anyway, and now we can focus on other special groups. So for me, I also still encourage Kenyans to give women a chance. And for me in particular, I'm asking people in Kabete to give me a chance to represent them in the National Assembly. And even other positions, MCAs, Senate, let's consider women this time around. And it's true, those countries in the world that are doing very well, they have a good representation of women in their houses. For example, Rwanda and others. So we might want to encourage people to do that.
Okay. So do you think also it's time, instead of depending on nomination slots, do you think it's time that we have more women running for office?
That's what I just said.
Deliberately?
Yeah.
Okay.
They need to.
Yeah.
But there is bottlenecks that we cannot ignore. For example, women are more intimidated because with the issue of insecurity in the election.
During the elections,
champions like EDDAH WAMBUI, who are actually there, you'll bet that they're probably going through more heat in the campaigns and more danger than men could. And therefore, it becomes very important that the level field is the playfield is leveled. And to me, I think that will be leveled when it's not about money but agenda, when it is not, there is no violence for anybody, especially women, but even for men, because there are some men like me who cannot go there because of the same danger. I don't want to be stoned or whatever. Then there is the issue of have we accepted that women are our leaders and can lead? I think to some extent, when I look at these African communities, even the Gikuyu, I cannot see in their history where a Gikuyu man can justify that a woman cannot lead. Because in the history embedded there is great women who have been leading. The clan itself, you see the women roles. If you look at the Luo place, you see our first woman elected in Kenya was a Luo. You see the first mayor. There is nowhere where women cannot lead. And therefore, it is very important that the agendas become. But I still think, I wish people of Kabete, I don't know which language they want to hear, to not leave such a great leader. But again, I also think that she missed the opportunity because women are doing better in this bottom-up. They are natural there, and they understand it better because you see, a man lives, and it's the woman who now know how kids will eat lunch, whether it's giving money. This thing, one, has women at the center, and you miss your opportunity, but still tap on it. It's not patterned that it's only UDA people who can run with it, because it's really a solution, in my view.
She runs up with the bottom up. Okay.
Not bottoms up, bottom up.
We don't mind bottoms either. Degrees. This week for the last 2 weeks we've been treated to an extraordinary degree drama, degree drama. Some are saying degrees that are being purchased here and there. And the big question is, and I'm also seeing the Ministry of Sports iko na mchezo. Wizara ya mchezo iko na mchezo. So now they've also come up with another task force that is supposed to say that all the creatives must have degrees. I don't know, the obsession that we are beginning to have as a country with degrees. They're
saying only that at least should have a degree.
So now even as we're coming to make noise here, we must have degrees. Do you know where I can buy one? Anyway, now the issues with leadership and degrees. What do you make of this, Ojwang? Does it really define the aptitude of leadership, and does it make it any better that you don't have a degree?
Two things. To me, I'm not impressed by degree, even PhD, because I've seen the dumbest people with PhDs. And I've seen the most brilliant people without a certificate.
Any form of education.
For real. And I'm very genuine that sometimes those papers cover more incompetence than ability. You should be able to spot somebody's ability, whether they have papers or not. I'm not going to respect you because you have papers. I'm going to respect you, bribe me with your ideas. And those ideas cut across, by nature, smart people and dumb people share in this space. And so some dumb people went to school, some smart people missed because maybe they didn't have a fund. But so in terms of leadership, and that is why, this country become obsessed with papers, not abilities. Papers. Papers cannot give us solutions. Especially the kind of miseducation we are having, which make us just copy and cram. So just because you have crammed for 14 more years than me does not make you any better. And by the way, if you are keen, you find that we mistake the ability to speak English with being intelligent. It's just a language. But we are not so much about ideas, but papers. So I look at great countries like the US, where somebody who is not even, don't have a degree, if they can have a solution, let's go for it. But for now, of course, it's a requirement in the Constitution. And we have seen the issue of integrity of degree, going as far as even maybe even the presidential candidates, that you cannot tell us of integrity and accountability, yet you can't account for where you went to school. Surely start with that basic. Where did you go to school? So and there is enough problem on both sides. I saw yesterday, was it Ms. Wavinya? And that was daredevil kind of deal, because you don't try forge from UK allegedly. They are more keen. You try these African neighbors, you can get away with it. There is
Usiende ngambo.
no, that is it takes a lot of courage and boldness to do that. Audacity. There is
The audacity.
There is the guy from Mombasa. I saw his
Which one?
Joe is done. The Azimio candidate. I also have seen his case is in court. There is so much issues with the degrees. Let it be sorted. It comes also with the issue of the integrity that is also being sorted. But I think at the end of the day, yes, the Constitution, the law says come with a degree, please come with one. It says the holder of a degree. I don't know, it means you are holding it. Actually, it doesn't say holder. It just says a degree or equal. And the case in Supreme Court was, what does degree means? Does it mean the certificate? Does it mean the meeting, the requirement? When we admit people to university, we are saying we admit you to a program leading to a degree. What does a degree actually mean? But at the end of the day, let a degree be a means to an end, not an end by itself. So that once you have that degree, then do degree things. Think the degree way. But if we make it an end by itself, because that's the challenge I see in Kenya for you, that I come and talk of how I'm learned and this and this, instead of bringing solutions about the community. Instead of vernacularizing this ideology to where it can help our people, we are more about floating papers, and that is part of the corruption and part of the waste. Do you know how much it costs the government to educate somebody up to Form 4? It is public money.
Yes.
And if this guy is not helpful to get a solution for the community, so that when you listen to most of the Luo praise song, it's about so-and-so studied, became number one, not about what they did with that. Studied until abroad, studied and was the best. That is not helping the society. I believe, in conclusion, that I think there are good people and smart people both sides. Yes, the requirement is bring a degree for governor, get a degree, a genuine one, but let us not be obsessed or mistake degree for ability. It might, but not always.
And the biggest question, even as we get to, as we head back, as we come
I think
into...
having a degree as a basic requirement for particular positions is a good thing, and I totally support it. The other day I was having a debate with someone who was really mad at me. He was telling me, "Oh, you leaders, you like to make apologies for those who do not have. You forget to really care and vouch for those who have." So, and at this point, you want to say, "Oh, let's exempt this because many do not have." When do you ever talk about those who have? You talk about the poor, the poor, the poor. When will you ever address those who are rich? You talk about those who, are... They have some form of what is it? Depreciation. You never talk about those who have and who are excelling and who are comfortable. And we need to start addressing everyone. Don't make apologies for only those who do not have, and in this case, in leadership. And I told him it's really not about, like when you said do not confuse a degree with ability. It is good because we want to say that not all leaders have gone to school and they are still leaders and it's fine. But we might also want to encourage that culture of let us have degrees, let us encourage people, and not just leaders, even in business. I've been in finance. I was in finance for 8 years. And when I started, I was a political science student. I knew nothing about finance. And I saw a great opportunity and I figured I could make a killing. This job is highly rewarding. And it forced me to go back and try find a degree in finance or another course in finance so that it could boost me in, my chances to get promoted, my chances to do well, to make more money, to get assigned more roles in the job. And that is the same across all careers. And politics is a career like any other career. So we need to encourage that if we have set this as a bare minimum. You see, like for governors are struggling because they are not lawmakers who sit and decide, let us scrap this off. If they were like MPs, they would have already said a degree is not necessary. But they do not have means. They do not have means to manipulate the law.
Okay.
And you see, law is made by man for man.
Right.
And sometimes the lawmakers actually benefit from their role of legislation more than the rest of us.
Okay.
But it is good that if we set this as a basic, people sat somewhere in a room. They wrote this constitution.
Okay.
And when they were writing it and consulted the people, obviously, by way of a referendum, it was meant for good.
And the people writing had
it,
degrees.
They had degrees. And everything in it
of course
was meant for good.
Okay.
And then it was changed to accommodate those who do not have, and maybe those who do not even want to have.
Okay.
But if we sit in a culture of, and I keep telling people in Kabete, I wish politicians would speak the truth and not twist things and become politically correct all the times. Because then we will live and walk in truth as a country.
Okay.
If we have said that as a requirement, basic requirement, let it stay there so that we encourage more people. And then as we speak, let us say a degree is good. I encourage all leaders to go get them so that at least we can fulfill at least one thing, just one thing, because we amend everything and we remove all the requirements and just to make sure that we favor ourselves. So I do encourage that. And I think even those who do not have should be given a chance and should be encouraged to also do the same. So I support it, and it's
a chance
actually
to get the degree.
Yeah, it's actually quite sad that most of these governors look like they've bought their degrees. Because today you say it is from this university, tomorrow you say it's from another one. It only means that you do not have it. That's dishonesty, and they should be charged, by the way. If they prove that you've been lying, you presented papers from a university, and it was a lie, you should be charged. Let's start doing the right things.
And that is where my worry is, because if you tell me if we can only bring a black cat, it doesn't matter whether I'm going to paint the cat, whatever is going to happen to the cat. As long as I can give you the cat, then it doesn't change who I am as a person. I mean, it doesn't change who I am as a person. So if you just tell me bring in the degree, then it becomes an absolute end with no results. Because these guys are coming with degrees anyway, and they're getting cleared.
Yeah, sorry
So
to cut you
does it
short.
change?
You see, the Safaricom CEO is managing a portfolio of about how much? Trillions, maybe. The requirement for him to manage such a company, such a workforce, such a budget is maybe a degree, a master's degree, you never know. So when it comes to a county government where the national government disperses a particular amount of money in billions every year too, where do we want then to have a leader who do not meet certain qualifications, and yet as a company that has the same amount of money every year in the cash flow is not exempted. So if we want the best, we must demand the best for ourselves. And then number two, if a leader is saying that they have a degree and they do not, you see, it is even better to say, Sina, I'm in the process. In 2 years, I'll have graduated. Can you, make room for me? As opposed to go, you fake a degree, you come to the people and tell them that mi niko nayo, mi najua nilisoma. Even if they say I didn't go, me I know I studied. And then you expect that person to go and manage such a kitty for 5 years, running over to about 20 billion.
But what is it in undergrad that makes somebody manage finance better as a governor? Because I can get you an undergrad transcript generally on most of these courses. What is it now in that undergrad course that makes this person a better governor? I doubt. Unless then, and let the voters then decide and say, she has come with finance. This is the right person because she understands money. This one has come with a degree, and I don't want to besmirch some degrees, but I'm wondering, what is it in a degree? Basic maths, English 101, sociology, history, those are the mandatory courses. So what is it that makes this person competent? And don't you think that if the voters cared about education, then they should be the one saying, I will not vote for you because this other guy is more learned than you. And more often than not, they don't do it like that. They actually go for the list. So that, yes, I agree. Let people be honest. It is now a requirement. Bring a genuine one. But at the end of the day, the problem with this requirement, as you are noting the talk, is that they become an end by itself. So that let you be still able to tell me, Ojwang, even if you have a PhD, the way you are reasoning does not make sense. Not that I come and say, look at me, I have a PhD, therefore whatever I say goes, even though I am not bringing anything that is meaningful. And so I'm not saying that let us discard it. I'm saying in addition, let us be keen to say, okay, now that you have brought these papers, is what you are reasoning, is what you are saying in tandem with the papers. Then I can say, I don't know whether those papers are genuine, but to me, I think that your ideas are not helpful. So the laziness of saying just because somebody has brought papers and therefore likely they are doing better. For example, in county assembly, remember it was a requirement even for county assembly?
Yes.
Now, what is it that they need to legislate in English? And that is why I'm saying that, okay, the biggest problem people have with Sonko is how will he speak to wazungu wakikuja? Is he a tour guide? I mean, what is wrong if you speak in Swahili and there is an interpreter? I'm not saying that people should not have degree, but I'm saying, so should he also go
The reasons don't know.
Right. Should he also go learn Chinese so that if Chinese come, he can speak in Chinese? Why should we so much worry about, you know, I've taught in schools that, people go and say, I'm learning French, so that if French people come, I can speak with them. Are the French people learning about the Luo? So that if I come, they can speak to me?
You go to France?
No, why
in the Luo?
No, even if they come to Nyanza, why should I be addressing them in French, in Kisumu, rather than them struggling and saying, how am I going to meet Ojwang? And my Luo is not very good. There is an element of colonization. There is an element of colonization that colonized people are always looking for a backseat. And I'm saying that. Let me very fast tell you my experience. Because after I did my undergrad, then I got the scare of my life towards graduation. I was told I needed 6 credits of foreign language. Then I asked, which are these foreign languages? I was told Spanish, Japanese, Korea. Now I'm imagining I can barely speak in English. Then now I start training in Korea.
In Korea.
My goodness. And so we had an African student union. I went to them and told them, guys, we have a problem. Of course, I had a problem. And the best we could get as African students is a C in Spanish. Uno, des, whatever. I could count up to 10. So I told them, no. Why can't our African languages be also giving us exception as international language? After all, before I go to America, I have to do ESL, English as a second language. It's not my first language. Actually, it's my third language. I will be lying to say it's even my second language. I can barely speak it. Then again, you are demanding that I do another foreign language, and I'm already speaking in a foreign language. With that experience, I was told this has been the rule in Indiana University since 1870 when the university was set. You must do foreign language. I said, I'm not going to be talking to trees, training with them how to talk. No way. I am not doing foreign language. Do you know that I pushed that issue? I threatened to go to court. Then the next semester I'd forgotten and I didn't have fee to pay. So then the bursar said that African has gone to court. How come he has not enrolled? So she called me and said, come to the office. Why have you not enrolled? I had forgotten the threat. I said, because I've no money. It's like, no, we know what you are up to. Can you go see the VC? The VC had a form. Write it in your vernacular, saying why you don't need to do a foreign language. I wrote it in the Luo. And I was exempted the 6 credits. I didn't do Spanish or whatever. Not because I don't value other languages, but because why should we be the one always learning this thing and using English as a rule on how intelligent you are? Up to now, the university, if you go to that university, you will be exempted if you are international because of that. So the way we think of myself, I don't believe that the only education is formal education. As Africans, we had educations. Timbuktu was the first university before Europeans had universities. And it wasn't uni, it was multi-university. Uni means you come and you are only shaped one thinking as a professor. And that's why people leave university dama. Now you can't even think. It is about citing what others have written. When do you have original thinking? So we are talking of not education, but formal
education.
Because yes, there is education at home. There is other informal education, and there are as well education like any other education, including the education of life. That's why Swahili says, "See, ufunzwa na
school of
mama,
life.
ufunzwa na ulimwengu." Kwani is in that education also. So they have only lacked an element of formal education, but they have other education.
And why do you call ours informal? The formal education is education. Finally, tukisonga, we are past time. 12 minutes past time. Your tackle of the day, Edda.
What would I say? I think the election is drawing closer and closer. Still ready and set. I thank everyone who's been supporting me and everybody who's been walking this journey with me. We will be launching my manifesto next in 2 weeks' time. Because I've been going around, sitting down with people, and people there know that I'm very passionate about education. Health, and that's reproductive health, and the booming youth population. Because I think that we need to do something as Kiambu County, and even I, starting from Kabete Constituency, about it. So we've been talking about these issues, and we've reached an agreement, and now we know what to do. So we'll be doing that in 2 weeks' time. I am an independent candidate. My symbol is a woman holding an uteo. Uteo in English is uteo. This in Kikuyu call it gitaruru. Yes, the one used to, So it means that I just want to go and komadha. Komadha is to harvest. I want to bring in funds to our people. I want to bring in opportunities to our people. As a young person, I can say that I've somehow benefited from certain opportunities in government. And I'll give a quick example and say that there are plenty of opportunities. What we lack is access. And we lack access because we don't have proper training. I do not expect a young man in Igekoni who does not have a computer or a laptop to be able to log in and sign up for a program that government is giving. But if I trained them and I even showed them how to go about them and how to be alert so that when an opportunity arises, you're fast on it, you jump on it, you get it. So I think I cannot perform magic, but I can use the existing opportunities and even help to create more opportunities at a national level, then link our people there with them. I went to Windsor Hotel a month ago, and I was accompanied by another candidate who is from our place. And this young lady comes, she's a waitress, and they knew each other. So they start talking, "Oh, you're working here?" "Yes, I started working here about a year ago." How? I mean, I left you back in the village looking for money fundraising to go to the university. So she said, we were not able to raise the money because her father is educating 3 other kids behind her. So it was not possible for her to get money. So she stayed home for about 2 years. And then a friend of hers sent her a link, a KEOP link. It's a platform by the government where they, load all information about opportunities in government for youth anywhere within the country. And when she sent me that link, she told me, "Can you look at it? If you're interested in that course that is going to be given by government in collaboration with KIST for 3 years, apply for it. If you're lucky, you get it. They'll pay for you for 3 years. We'll study, and it'll be good because your problem has been school fees." So she did that. After 3 years, she's yet to graduate, but she was sent to Windsor for her internship for 3 months. And then she worked so well, the hotel management retained her on full employment. And she's working there now, and she's doing very well. And she told me, "I've even been able now to move out of home. I've rented a house near the hotel. I'm doing well." So this, I tell the many young people back in Kabete that is a true situation, the true picture. Regardless of who comes in, whether it is William Ruto, the opportunities will still be there. If it is Raila Odinga, they are just fixed somewhere because of the laws that we've created for ourselves. So that is what I want to do for our youth, and I would really appreciate it if the people of Kabete would give me the chance to do that. So vote for me.
All the very best.
Yes.
Do you have any tackle of the day, Doctor?
Just to compliment and really encourage Kabete people that the Mheshimiwa have solid plan. She's a lady with a plan on how to empower the constituency. Please give her a chance. And finally, to say that this election, in my view, is not about so much about those packaging. They are important, certificates and all that, whose name is there. It is about open the wrapping and look at the policies that is actually underpinning these candidates. And in my view, we must look at the kind of society we want, a just society, a society where things are equal, a society that there are equally good things at the bottom, just as much as it's in the top, a society that there is less gap between the have and have-nots, as government that thinks about your problem. You might not know the candidate. And the other time I met somebody telling Deputy President, you might not know me, but I might have not met you, but you know me because you are saying policies that will affect my livelihood. It's going to be a good election. Let us maintain peace. Let us engage cordially and with camaraderie and collegiality. But at the end of the day, let us not look at the packaging, but the package, and see who has the solution in bringing us to a more equal society. Because finally, as you are saying, the more we have lived and talk of law and the rights and whatever, the more we are seeing the gap between the richer and the poor, about the counties, about individual, about genders. It is time to bridge these gaps. Thank you.
Okay, all right, let's bridge the gap. The election is coming in, and I still want to remind you that by 10th August, we'll be having a new president. It will be a Kenyan, a human being. There's a testimony, Gile Boyd from USA, and said, I did the same. I did the same what Dr. Ojwang went through. I went through the same system, and I think he has made us get that chance. Now I had Swahili to be my outside language, which I got 6 credit of. Testimony.
By the way, be talk. I don't think you believe this story of mine. Because I have people call, somebody went to Indiana University from another country, not even Africa, and he was told you are exempted. There was a student here 17 years ago called DUNCAN OJWANG who said no. And because of that, you are exempted. Sometimes you guys need to give me more credit.
Yes, when I become the president, I'll give you an OGW. At the end of the burning spear, even if you have never seen a spear.
Right. If the very man had it.
All right, thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure having you. Santa Head and all the very best in Kabete. Watu wa Kabete, habari ndio hiyo. Thank you so much, Ojwang, for making time. You have to see you again, of course, during the week. Tukafunga wiki tomorrow, every other day. Yes, can you tell them? Thank you so much, Taklas, who have been joining in. I hope to see you again tomorrow on the Diaspora edition. Na watu wa Diaspora na daktari hapa pia tukiendeleza mazungumzo. Until then, this is the Tackle and the Ends now. Bye-bye and take care.